Hello, welcome to the cold opening. This stream's going to be about working on Get Good, a mod that I started 2 years ago, and, well, I've done bits and pieces on it, but honestly nothing too much. I think a good place to start will be showing what I've previously done, so starting with what I released 2 years back. I think it was 2 years back anyways, it was for an April 1st and it weren't last. So let's get on with that. I'm going to switch over to desktop, load up Portal 2 and switch it over to game. This is my first time properly streaming, so forgive me if anything's not set up correctly. I'm currently got 0 viewers, but honestly that doesn't matter to me. What was it called? Also I used excess underscore because it's meant to be memey. I don't know how... yeah, awesome level. There's also a lot of dated memes in here because it's been worked on for 2 years. Oh, and I've still got Portal Runner, Medium. So I'm just going to play through this level.
Remember, these exhibits are interactive, like a children's museum. So that means the pits of acid are filled with real acid, like at a well-funded children's museum.
The purpose of that dialogue is to give you a sense of time,
exhibits are
which allows you
interactive,
then
like a
to
children's
be able
museum.
to funnel fly
So that
properly.
means the pits of
Because
acid
not
are
everyone's
filled
going
with
to know
real
how to put
acid,
command
like
on.
at a well-funded children's museum.
And it also just adds to the meminess of it. This water acts very funny, because memes. And you just funnel fly across the roof. It's actually faster to strafe, but not everyone will do that. And this is kind of weird because of how it's laid out, but you don't actually lose or gain any height. However you can, and that's something I do plan on messing around with. There's also teleports all over the floor to stop you from doing it. And yeah, world scenes and all that. It's quite the mess, this level. If I drop down, you'll see it takes me back, and the water flings you away, and then there's a teleport right to the bottom. CL show pause 1. So we'll just go back through that game very quickly.
Remember, these exhibits are interactive, like a children's museum. So that means the pits of acid are filled. Remember, these exhibits are interactive, like a children's museum. So that means the pits of acid are filled with real acid, like at a well-funded children's
museum. Should just be able to
museum.
change my blue portal and then get back up. And there's a portable surface there. Boom, boom. And this is where the mod ended, because it was just a single map. Peabody in this room, transitions to pink, and then nothing happens. Oh, in fact, I think in this version I added a level transfer, so we'll go through this one as well. This is one of the few maps I actually got finished to a degree, and by finished I mean ends. So we've got another funnel here, a pit of not so deadly water really. I don't think anything happens to you if you go in it. Don't want to be too punishing. So once again, get into the funnel, reach 0. Reach 0 again, so now we're flying. So these are technical textures in Portal 2 and they're portable. So those act as your portable surfaces. You've got an observation room in the ceiling because haha random. And the unused test element, the football. So you can pick this up, shatters on impact, but if I can pick it up, it'll go into the socket if I can chuck it properly. About this medigun though, it's just something I wanted to have a play around with for a different mod. Right, doing that activates that, and cubes drop out of the observation room. Because why not? Now those can actually knock you downwards and into the goo, so you'll have to funnel fly again. Also you can't be burnt by a laser whilst funnel flying because you're still in a funnel state. So this is a test of skill, this one. You've got to hold it for some seconds, and if you fail, it resets. Right. Yeah, you have to hold it for like, what's that, 15 seconds? And I think this is the end of the chain as far as it goes, which is a big small test chamber. And this is using a texture I no longer have with the game, so it's broken. And well, actually I don't know. I don't know what texture it's using, but either way it's the wrong one. So I found out that you can actually make these props bigger. Oh yeah, and this is a remake of an old test chamber that I did on the PTI. But I actually got someone else to play. I can't remember his name at the minute, but it was called 3-4 something, and he really struggled with it. I think this mechanic's actually used in the game at some point, but I can't remember when. In fact, now I know it's used in the co-op campaign in Art Therapy, just in a slightly different style. So presumably this test chamber will continue on and do something interesting with giant props, but I don't really know. So let's start at the beginning. So the mod would start on a menu map. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So here we are, and it appears like a menu, but in actuality it's a map. Cunning, I know. So it uses the video player in the game, similar to how they do it in co-op to show you stats and the elevator rooms, and it's just got a bunch of junk to play around with. Custom version of a projector prop with the lights on, even though in the official maps will leave the lights off even when it's projecting. Stack of clipboards, and a radio that plays the menu music. And yeah, it goes on to an entire area out here that I've been working on a bit lately. Drop the radio, it teleports back up, because why not? And just prop spam the room. And then from here, I was playing around with some assets lately. You can see my icon, which I might not keep as my icon for too much longer, but I had it as an old model, so I figured, you know what, I might as well turn it a bit more 3D and like put it in the mod, because why not? I also have this signage thing. Well, that's horribly corrupted. That's missing, but it's just corrupted it. And yeah, so since it's a physical space, I figured signage would work. I don't want it to be too big, so you'd really only be walking around one floor. And yeah, that's where I was going to connect up the next map we'll be looking at. But before that, let's have a little nose around. So there's an elevator that's crashed through the ceiling, a bit of world building, and then down here is one of the areas that I was adding. Now if you're a real Portal nerd, you'll know this area from the Ratman comic. It's actually my attempt at remaking it from a while back, but I've just tidied up and shoved into the mod. These turrets are a bit special. And that's some brushwork. That's a part of a TF2 model that I edited a while back that I tried to put in to replace this brushwork one. It's just generally untextured and a bit funky. And these cubes that I made a while back, which is a bit janky. And these ceiling light models that are parts from Portal that are kind of a bit funky and broken in their own sense. And a scale monitor model. And now, before I bore you all to death, let's yeah, fly around. So you can see I've detailed it less on the floors below where you're not really going to be able to see. And yeah, so just in general, performance saving without making stuff no draw, because no draws can just cause more problems than you'd want. So, I'll have a quick drink and then we'll move along. So this next map is quite special, and I'll just let it talk for itself to begin with.
Welcome to Science Voluntary Testing. You have been selected for voluntary testing. Please follow me. I have other things I could be doing right now.
So this course speaks with a digitalised voice, and is guiding. This is where you'd be learning to funnel fly in the game, and he waits around for you, and he's got a bit of babble dialogue when he wants to talk.
Follow me to your test chamber.
Yeah, he can say that and some other stuff. So we've got some physics props here, you know your basics. This wall doesn't quite go flush for some reason. Yeah. It's not very easy to hear though, and I need to figure out the backtracks a bit better. I think he ought to stop like that, but then he ought to move along. So he's encouraging you to move to the end of the corridor rather than just waiting there. And then you've got like this little area here, leading onto a room. Yeah. And this is what I'm rather proud of. Look at me being a procrastinator. So, in his terribly hard to understand quiet voice, he is trying to explain to you how to funnel fly. Now, due to problems that I had at the time, I never actually got him to fully do it. And in fact, you've got some debug props up here in the sky area to try to help me figure out what was going on with his logic. He's even got some logic props that show what's going on.
You must enter the funnel from the ground, falling it will not work.
And worst of all, is even quieter when you're in the funnel.
Walk into the funnel.
Yeah. So you can see different buttons light up when he's talking. Based on what's
Walk into the funnel.
Yeah. So then after that, if I just run some commands, you'd go back through here and then presumably somewhere else, but I never really bothered to detail it because I kind of got stuck with that a bit. That's my problem really. I like to just focus on getting what I'm doing now done and not really focusing on planning much. And I mean, this is the kind of mod that I'd like to do that for because it doesn't really require much forward planning. So if I go to where I actually got the tutorial working, what do you call it? What was it called now? I was using it earlier. Yeah, test detector. So this is a map that compiles much more quickly and allows me to thoroughly test it. And the fallback idea I had, because of how difficult it was, I just made a tutorial sign based off of what you call it, CPR safety. So enter a funnel from the ground, keep standing, reach the top, wait a few seconds, crouch, wait several seconds, leave funnel, remain crouched, which is one way of T-beam fly, the technical name for it. So you'll see 0 when I'm nowhere near, F when I'm on the floor, 1 when I enter the funnel, 2 when I reach the top, and then it should be 3 when I ought to crouch, but yeah, that's okay. 4 when I'm crouched to reach the top, and then finally 5 when I should be able to leave the funnel safely. Yes. And then I didn't put in a detector for when you've successfully flown. But I think the idea should be that I have a checkpoint system. So you can just fly around the room and do some stuff. And that's what I'd like to do with it. Also, if you're right next to the ceiling and get stuck, that's a problem. So, yeah. that's all the maps that link together. And then I've got some oddball maps as well. So let's just go through them. So I think XX Assets is this one area. Yeah. Is it map? No, it isn't. It shouldn't be. That's because of the previous map. So in here, I've got a mix of terrible assets. So this is a fiddle test. I think I was trying to get some dialogue working. You'll see why later. A Mario star. Mario 64 star. A floor button. A custom floor button. So this is from some concept art of the official game. It's an okay model, but it needs some work. And I've got a bunch of different cars on the wall. I actually included this in a custom map I released to a workshop for co-op lobby. And this has got a bunch of different cars on, so you can see. But for just all recalled default ones. Those are like stock, I think, and then that's like my custom model one. And I just recalled some of them as well. And then the coolest part about this map, if I reload it, so it fixes the cube maps, hopefully. I don't know what that was. Yay, the multiverse. So this is an outdoor area. I downloaded this skybox from somewhere. Sorry, I don't remember. So donut Earth, low poly Earth, sphere Earth, well, real Earth, I guess. Flat Earth, cube Earth, and another circle Earth. So I've got a bunch of different Earths in the skybox. I made these in Blender and just used different projection methods to try to put the texture onto them. And I think it turned out okay. Yeah. United Kingdom on that one, United Kingdom on that one. This one was a pain to do, but I got it working. United Kingdom on that one. Cube was even worse. I think, yeah, England's mega distorted. And yeah. And I don't even want to start Donut Earth. Where would the UK be? Oh, there. A bit chunky. And then also we've got this area here, which, if you're familiar with my channel, I like the TARDIS, and I want to make my own TARDIS in Portal 2. And this is one of the attempts I did. There's 3 sections here that are connected together. And yeah. It's an okay model, but I think the collisions were a bit wonky with it. But no, these seem okay now. Right. Next map. XX Triple. Can't remember what this one was exactly. Oh, now I remember. You're gonna love this. Giant ruddy turret. So this is using the scaling functionality. Also, this is where I've used Neo Drop before. So yeah, regular turret collisions because it's just a scaled up one. And then if I throw an exploding football at him, which does that by the way,
deploying.
He starts gunning you down. Except because his barrels are so far apart, he doesn't actually hit you, which is funny. It just hits around you. I think there's probably a way of fixing that, but it's too funny. Also, he's on a scaled up platform as well, because when you've got the ability to scale dynamic props, you might as well. So let's move along. So next up, background, which is one of the maps I was playing around with. This one doesn't look quite right when you join into it normally, but you can get the gist of it. It's a Minecraft background. Map background. Well, I'll just fix that. Map background. XX. So this is what I came up with before I decided to do the menu map. You can't use both at the same time, unfortunately. And also this kind of wigs out when you've got the developer console open. The reason I put the glass in front is because the game horribly pixelates it for some reason. It's not like in Minecraft where it's like smoothed out. So I just put glass in front of it, which kind of hides that. Not too well though. Yeah, it's okay. But it's just not what I'm going for with this mod. So next map. Ball shoot. So yeah, this is kind of working. So this was my attempt at making it so you could shoot footballs. So right now the player's got a football attached to the head as like a weapon view model. And I think the idea was I was going to go around and not suppose with footballs and make it so you've got like a football cannon. But I never really did much with it because I don't know much about VScript. So this one does have quite interestingly. Right, change level, XX, basketball. As you can guess, a lot of these revolve around glass football because it's an interesting cut element. So you can see here, floor observation room. Yep. And let's... Also, that probably isn't the right orientation. Yeah, and it despawns it when you've gone through. And yeah, what you call it, world portals. And also this is a custom door prop with an extremely terrible texture to made like years back. Mega cringe. I don't know, I won't really call it mega cringe. Yeah, I'm still streaming to one person, but this will become a video afterwards anyways. Right, Conga. So this is where the cube comes into place. Now this is another old video.
Hello there. I will be your companion for this test.
So if you thought the other guy was hard to hear. Yeah. And I never even bothered putting a button on this one. So this is a remake of an old map that I did. But instead of a light bridge, it's now a funnel. So you do with like a bit of funnel flying. But for some reason, I just never finished it. There's an area back here where it's meant to hack open, and beyond the door, it's a first sighting of you're not supposed to be here. Go back where you belong and forget about all this. Yeah, because might as well. So let's change to the next map. So now from the early game to the end game. So this one I'm actually still fairly happy with overall. There's not much I really dislike about it, except for the fact I never finished the share textures. Like, these are some fairly nice models all in all. It could use some work, I guess. So this is where the credits would take place. So it's a small aperture science theatre. Yeah. You're not allowed out. You've got to watch this. And the projectionist room, it's just a chair. So yeah. So I created two variants of a chair model. Most of them folded up and one of them folded down. And then the idea being, use some animated props to display the credits. Like a PowerPoint presentation. Right. Next, dev. I don't exactly remember what dev was. Right, this was water testing because I wanted to see if you could use different types of water. And the answer is all of them appear like this. So, no, not really. Right. next up. Right, and then this was a meme around the time. Yep. It's Jevel's Carousel from Deltarune. Yeah, all front detailed, no collisions, and then just put some basic collision walls on. Yeah. And that's what some of these like. Just mixed bits and pieces. Little Cave, which I think is the big small map we went on. Yeah. Right. Next map. Oh yeah, I was also ripping the motel assets and trying to split them up, which I actually successfully did. So you've got your original chair here, and then my version with proper collisions. Original bedside stand, my version with proper collisions. A bunch of stuff on the desk, so radio and microwave, no collisions on them, collisions on mine. Fridge, which I think is just mine because the regular one doesn't show up in game. And then I was going to do all the room stuff as well, but I don't think I got around to it. Yeah, these were what I was going to do. Oh yeah, an air conditioner too. Yeah, I do a lot of asset stuff. On a rail. Yeah, I was working on this one more recently. You know everyone's favourite chapter from Half-Life? What if I managed to make that into Portal 2? That's what I was hoping for anyways. And it kind of works, but it's got a lot of the problems that the newer versions of the Source Engine have, where it'll just book you off the cart. I was going to make a model for that as well, which is why it's like detailed brushwork. Right, onwards and onwards. And another idea I had as well was recapping the games, like in an abridged sense. Now, I've already got pretty much all the maps because I've been working on recreating science. So it was just as simple as copying the data over and bodging them together. So, obviously, test chamber 1, or 0, I guess. And it's a companion cube, so you drop it onto the button, and you go through here, and I think this is like 4, isn't it? And it's shooting out. So we've skipped that entire section. I was going to use link portal doors, but I thought that might be a bit too obvious. Right. So now we've got portal on.
What?
You can portal back. And fetch a companion cube with us. And then this is where it ends. But the idea being that it'd just be an abridged version of Portal 2. Yeah, this version doesn't have a parallel between. Yeah, I went excessive detailing on recreating science, and I think that's why it took forever, and I kind of cancelled development after a while. I need to get better at that. Yeah, so this is just literally this section from recreating science, which itself is just mostly reskin and patch up from the Portal 1 files. So, next map. Not that anyone would forget Portal, it's just that I thought it'd be a funny way of changing expectations. Smashing. I can't remember what this one is exactly. Oh, now I remember. Now this was another experiment that I did, which is Fulbright. So the idea is a mashy spike plate that follows you along on a grid and tries to kill you. So it follows you along one axis and then on another, and then I was planning on having it straight down. The only problem being, the way that I implemented it meant that it'd happily break. Now let's see if I can get it to do so. Also, I feel like it's a bit too fast for comfort. Maybe if it stops for a short period after it smashes down. You know what, it seems fairly stable at the minute, but it probably won't be once I get to the end. Oh no. So the way I did this is, it's a singular prop, but it's been parented to two different blocks. So you've got like a horizontal and like an X and Y axis. So you can see this grey block's following me along right now. And then when I stop, the dark grey block follows. The only problem is, you know, when it stutters like that, that's when I believe it has the issues. I don't know. I just remember having a lot of problems with it, to be honest with you. But hey, it seems stable enough. It's just a shame I couldn't get anything really put together to release for today. Right, next map. Spookums. Oh, Spookum. Yeah, Spookums. So I think this is meant to be a bit more spooky than that, so let's just reload. Yeah, that's fixed all the lighting. Oh, and the bed model's not here, that's fun. So I think this is another idea that I had about like a cursed version of Portal. Well, that's not good. In fact, there was something on this map, weren't there? Yeah, over here.
Target acquired. Target acquired. Target acquired.
I think that was the core of the idea. I was playing around with audio at the time in game because there's a lot of audio filters you can use. So I made the turret ramp up its voice, and yeah. I mean, that could be creepy in the right situation, I guess. A bit spooky. I don't want to give anyone too much of a scare, I'm not a big fan of that, but you know, just build up some atmosphere, have some fun with it. Right, Theta, which is a parody of a mod that someone else is making. And I'm a big fan of the Portal 2 modding community. There's a lot of good stuff that's come out of it, and that's why I want to be part of that. And yeah, so this is inspired by one of the videos I saw on it. So I've kind of tried to emulate the test chamber design. So the angled ceilings and the Portal 1 style windows, but with the Portal 2 glass. And I kind of just took some creative liberties with it. And yeah, in his is mostly used pistons and stuff like that, like proper old Aperture style. But I'd probably just keep it to the theme of the mod, which is funnels. Maybe an old school funnel type, who knows. So that's all that really, it's literally just a door. And a bit of set dressing. Right. And now for a really dated meme. So this map's called The Way. And it's the one that I already showed you. Yeah. The map names don't always correlate with content in them, they're just whatever meme I thought about at the time when I made it. Right. So this one is Trimp into something, I think that's what it was called. Yeah. So once again, a map name that's got nothing to do with what it is. So this is, yeah, as you can tell, a ruined test chamber. This is my first time doing something like this. So I made each panel an individual funk brush, and just absolutely skewed the crap out of them. So I rotated them and like bulged it and made it look like the entire test chamber had like caved in and bulged out. So, go up here. I seem to remember this one instantly snapping to 0, but I guess that's not the same as I thought. So the idea being that you've got to like fly out of this destroyed room. Yeah. Simple enough concept, but it's an okay idea. That's like what most of these are. Mostly conceptual because I never bothered finishing them. Which is a bit of a shame, but at least I'm planning on working on it now. Who dripped the big turret, but it's meant to be dropped? Typos. So, because I lost the big turret, I remade it. That can actually kill you. I was playing around with something else that could kill you since the big turret couldn't. Yeah, so if he gets a direct hit, it will kill you, but otherwise it won't. Oh yeah, and this big turret's pick-up-able because I never changed that property. But he's non-solid for the most part, unless you kick him over. And then you can see he's just scaled up. Yeah, so this is like a remake. The idea is that it'd be like shooting at you whilst you're running around, like trying to deactivate him or something. It was like a failed experiment. The idea being that this is like an evil panel that's trying to kill you. Because why not? In fact, I think this is this is a mix of a rocket turret entity, like the static version. Laser turret, I think it is, or trip mine or something. Combined with a panel that auto-angles towards you. Similar to what WIP does. And I think that's it for the maps themselves. So I'm going to switch to desktop. And we're going to load up the authoring tools and have a bit of a developer look. So as you can see, I've recently opened up the map. Yeah, task detector, because I was just sorting this out earlier today, trying to figure out why it weren't working, just tuning some of the timings. Yeah, this thing's a complicated mess, I remember. Like several different triggers all trying to figure out what's going on with it. And we're all activated and deactivated by different states. And that's just an output for the states. Yeah. Wow, this is horribly laggy. But I guess that's what happens when you use Windows Aero theme. What's that, 15 FPS? Good lord. That's horrible. I think I ought to do some mapping another time. But I should be able to show you Blender at least, because I've got some stuff in Blender that's worth looking at. So if I do a file open. So I've got bits and pieces of stuff. I just generally dump stuff in the Get Good Models folder. So I've been doing some models for another person who's my brother, but yeah, I've been doing that. Oh yeah, and before, what's it called? Before, what's it called? Bots and Rocks did his video. I was looking at the camera texture on TCRF, and I was like, you know, I could probably model that from scratch, just based on the texture sheets. And I modelled a moderate chunk of it. Honestly, I didn't know much what I was doing with it, but a cylinder's a cylinder, isn't it? So I kind of got it working to a degree. Yeah. This height we get to see not punt. No, what's it called? F-stop. I'm glad we get to see f-stop. This is a different variant of a 7-segment display prop that I never really finished. It's based off something from concept art. I ought to go through the concept art sometimes, because that's what a lot of this stuff's based on. Absol, it's a collision model, low LOD and high LOD. Yeah, so you can see how basic he is. I don't even think the collision model's loaded properly in game because I'm not an expert with it. But yeah, so that's based off an old model I did. See what else. Buttons. Yeah, based off another thing that I saw. That's actually from old Blender, isn't it? Because of how the UI is laid out. This, which is from a map that I was making for Gary's mod, where he had like some checkpoint rings. Might recycle it though. Yeah, I actually got this animated using texture proxies. That was quite fun. I think they're called texture proxies anyways. Using and then playing around with different stuff. I just model a bunch of random crap. Oh yeah, that's back with the Minecraft ideas. Got the multiverse planets. I don't think this is even properly set up for new Blender. Use nodes, base colour, image texture, select image texture, multiverse. Yeah, that's better. So that's what they're meant to look like. So you can see I've got different shapes. Yeah, I only switched to new Blender a while back, but I much prefer it. Yeah, really old computer model thing I was doing. It's a bit hard to see, but yeah. Sorry about that. Right. Yeah, phone call. So, yeah, bits and pieces of the models. It's meant to be a character, or a character that I was working on. Oh yeah, so these are a bunch of different characters I was working on a long time ago. These aren't for Get Good necessarily. As you can tell, low poly. I don't think they've got any textures besides like colour information. It's like a penguin bird thing. That's like a dog thing. I'm fairly sure that's like not even original. And of course a Dalek. But Platt is. I don't think I've actually said his name out loud in public before, like on live stream, but yeah, that's Platt. That's a character to use on my desktop. That's like what I want my new icon to be, but I can't bother making the switch at the minute because I can't create good artwork. Re-science. Oh. Yeah, this is when I was trying to re-rig the scientist model. Oh, it's a bit of a mess. Yeah. I have no idea why I messed up with that. Got this camera model, which is inspired by some more concept art. How do I open up the necessary panels on here? This is like a weird amalgamation of the two blenders. It's got the Blender 1 layout, well, Blender 2 layout, the Blender 2.8 style, image texture, camera. Yeah, so that's what it's meant to look like. It's meant to have a little stand. I will probably still use this, but I think it's just a bit high poly. Yeah, it's like 1.1k tries, so I'd need LODs for this for definite. Let's see what else. Oh, and then Twirly, one of my favourite characters from, what was it, season 11 of Doctor Who? Or was it season 12? I can't remember. But yeah, did I bother ever texturing him? No, but I did give him a separate bit on top so he can move his head up and down. And his legs are, what you call it, yeah. I don't know, he might find his way into the mod as well, but probably not. Let's see what else. That was created for TF2 maps. It's a cone arrow thing because someone wanted an arrow, but I don't think they ended up using it. Yeah, fun experience nevertheless. Texturing. Cinema seat, dome. Yeah, and card. So yeah, different variants of the seat. I think collision model, LOD 1, and full quality. And I've also got it as a posable object. Yep. So if I want to rotate it, I can do. Let's see. What other stuff do I have? Oh yeah, in the Portal 2 trailer there was a cone, and I wanted to make a cone. So I made a cone. It's not a particularly good cone, but Oh, no, that's not the right texture sheet, is it? Yeah, it frozen. It's not a particularly good cone. Yeah, I think that's because I was using light maps, you know, like ambient occlusion, and that don't work with round corners. At least the old one didn't. Maybe the new one does. Yeah, multiverse, which I think is just like output. Retro floor button, which is that model I showed you earlier. So this is inspired by some concept art, like I said. And it's a big bulky floor button that would be mounted to the floor. Let's see what else there is. Star, which is the Mario 64 star. Which, yeah, interesting enough. I think I was going to get it animated and onto a different prop. Let's see what else relating to Portal 2. So I've just got a mix of stuff. There's also another Get Good folder with some cursed content in. So Funland, which was this silly idea that I had. So that's about the size of a player in relation to it. Yeah, I was playing around with curves at the time, which is this fun thing in Blender where you can make chunky curves. And I was thinking like an Aperture Science pneumatic pipe. I've got this ghost thing. Honestly, yeah, it only uses a mirrored texture. I don't know, I've got some kind of affinity for slightly cursed looking objects. And then this is when I ported the Medigun. I think this is new Blender. But for some reason I don't have the textures set up. Yeah, so I had to create some new animations for it. So, you know, like when you're firing and stuff like that. Which are mostly just, what you call it, edits of pre-existing ones. In fact, we ought to have a good look at that. And then, Portal, just playing around with TF2 themed Portal button stuff. There should be a proper high quality one in here somewhere. Yeah, off to the side over here. So yeah, it's a chunky button. I don't think it's got the animation set, but the idea being that it's a chunker. It gets white at the top, doesn't have anything on the bottom, and then it'll change colour when you press it. And I think I actually got that working in game to a degree. But I think that's all for that folder. Yeah, bits and pieces of stuff really. New TM refers to the time machine, but I don't think I've got the actual blend file in there. This is a bit of a mess, to be honest. Portal. Besides the doll, which is something I was working on to make it into a model, like, you know, a single model rather than brushwork and everything, that doesn't really have much. And then props motel statue, that's when I was doing the motel props. Oh, let's have a look what's in Recreating Science. So you got clipboard. Wow, I'm impressed these textures are still here because I just shifted them all around. Probably not set up properly though. Yeah, like I worried. Do you pop this out in this version? B? No. Right. Textures. Use nodes. Image. That's kind of working. Not the right one, is it? So that's meant to be clipboard. Then clipboard cover. yeah, so I think that's the proper one. So you can see I went through and manually did the textures. Yeah, it's not correct through by any means. Deactive robots. This is for some co-op stuff that I was doing. I made a simple animation, so they'd be static. Oh yeah, I was going to fix up all the desk models in the game, so I could use them for recreating science better. What's this one meant to? Oh yeah, I was trying to get Medic working as a shell model. Once again, this is where I've got stuff all mixed up. And event. Yeah, this is where RS got stuck for a while because I wanted to make new events that were animated rather than brushwork. Once again, my focus on the unimportant taking over. Did a bunch of Tower Unite stuff for a while. Virtualise some stuff. And just got a mix of stuff here. Oh, this was rather neat actually. I managed to import a bunch of Portal 2 assets wholesale into oh, I never packed those textures, did I? Yeah, those are broken. I'll set those back. Oh no, they are there to a degree. Yeah, so it's turret. Right. Anyways, I think that's all for now, really. So I'm going to call it there. Thanks for watching, and next time we'll actually be working on creating new stuff for it and rounding that off. So hopefully it's not another year before something new happens with this project. Right, thanks for watching. You probably watched the video because I don't think anyone tuned in for the live stream, but honestly this has been quite a lot of fun. So thanks for watching, goodbye.